Hey guys, Jared James here, and excited to be doing this, guys. I'm doing 4 different trainings, webinar style, with you guys over the course of the next few months here. So make sure you check out all of those. Always exciting to do work with the South Carolina Association of Realtors, guys. I've been with you a few times. Know a lot of you, have a lot of you in our programs, and today I get to talk to you about something that really matters within your business, and that is how to convert leads like a boss, right? And so before I get into that, I want to tell you a couple things. Number one, I will also have some slides that are available if you'd like to get access to those slides. Whenever I do these, I like to do it where I can actually see you, and it's almost like a conversation, because I feel like you learn more. If you want the slides that actually go along with this, just shoot an email to yes, at jaredjamestoday.com. yes@jaredjamestoday.com. I'll also try to send them to your association, so that if you want to grab them that way as well, you guys, maybe they'll have a way to like have you download them or send them to you, so I'll do that as well. But this is a topic that is a crucial topic, because it's really where we are in our industry today, okay? It's frustrating to so many, and many of us think that the leads aren't good, or they're not working correct, or they're not serious, or they're not. And the truth is, it's just because it's a new world, and they're according to their time frame, not our time frame. So really looking forward to doing this, guys. As I always say, if you guys have questions at any time, regardless of when you are listening to this, just go to connectwithjared.com, connectwithjared, Jared.com. You can follow on Instagram or YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else. Just shoot me a DM on Instagram or somewhere like that if you have a question. I'd be more than willing to answer whatever you guys have. But without any further ado, let's get into it, guys, because my goal here is to help a lot of you make more money and convert at a higher level, which really comes down to our level of skill, right? We operate in a different industry now. If you've been in the industry longer than 5 to 10 years, it's a frustrating time right now, because you lived in a referral-based world. And now, not that people don't like referrals, but by the time people are getting to referrals, in many cases, it's too late, because they've already been dealing with 12 different realtors, and you know, because of the forms they filled out or the questions they answered online or whatever it happens to be. But one of the things that I really want to get across to you, that I need you to understand, is that you could literally double your income by doubling your conversion. Like in the next 12 months, you could not create one more lead, not anything like that, but just double the percentage of your conversion that you've been doing already, and you could double your business by doing that, or triple or quadruple, depending on what that rate is. And so getting good at this is not an optional thing. It's something that if you're in this industry now, it's a must, okay? So pay attention, guys. Give me your attention for the next 30 to 60 minutes here. Take some notes, take lots of notes, and use this information to either play this in your office, at your meetings, at your, you know, whatever it happens to be, to really help you, okay? So first thing you want to do when it comes to doubling, when it comes to converting like a boss, is we have the ability today to find out more information about people without ever even meeting them than ever before. Okay, and so you want to take advantage of that, because Sales 101 still exists, which means that, you know, building rapport and doing those kind of things still exists, but how we do it has changed. And so you have the ability today to put somebody's, not their name, you don't want to put someone's name into Google, because there's a lot of people with your name. There's other people with the name Jared James. But the one thing that's unique to every person is the email, okay? And so when you put someone's email into Google, what you find is you start to find what their social networks are, any awards they've won, where they work, what they're interested in, all of these kinds of things. And you can find out more than ever, what do I need to do to build rapport? What teams do they like? What activities do they like? What kind of groups are they a part of? You can find that out simply by putting in their email into Google. The other thing you can do is, in today's world, a lot of people don't realize this, whether you have an iPhone, whether you have a Droid, whether you have whatever you have, you don't have to have somebody's phone number in order to text message them, okay? And a lot of people don't realize that, because texting gets a higher rate of response than emails. You know, I don't think I'm going out on a limb to tell you guys that. You guys know that. But here's the interesting thing. If you were to take in your messages, right, where you have your messages, and you send a text, and you do that kind of a thing where you send the text, if you, instead of putting in a phone number in an iPhone or in a Droid, if you put in their email, and that is the email that they have associated with their Apple account or with their Google account or whatever it happens to be, it will actually go through to them as a text instead of an email, which is a much better way to get a hold of somebody, and a much more efficient way to actually get a response from somebody is by doing it as a text message, even when you don't have their phone number, okay? So you do it like a text, only you don't put in a phone number, you put in their email. And most people with their Apple accounts and their Google accounts, they have 5 or 6 emails on those accounts. They don't just have one. So chances are, if that's the email you got for them, that's one of the ones that they have on there, okay? So put that in, text message. Now, when you text message somebody, okay, I'm gonna be very practical with you guys today. When you text message somebody, you don't text, hey, this is so-and-so, I got your request for home valuation, just want to see if I'm a 5-star bowling champion, like, none of that. Because they won't respond, not because they don't want to respond, but because they're not ready to have that conversation. They're thinking about everything else they have to do right now. So what you're gonna do instead is very simple. You need a response from them. So you're just gonna say something like, is this John? That's it. Is this John? And they're like, what? Is this John? Who's this? They're gonna write back, new phone, who dis? Or they're gonna, who's this? Now, they know that you know that they're there. Because when they respond, you now know that they're there. You know, hey, just got your request. Now you can go into your thing. But now the fact that they know that you know that they're there, they'll now start responding. If you follow that little, back and forth thing that goes on there, that's a little bit of a different skill set than just sending them a long thing and telling them why you're trying to get a hold of them, okay? The other thing that we need to understand when we're trying to convert leads like a boss is that we need to understand the 5 love languages, okay? Now, I know that this is not a relationship video, and some of you know exactly what I'm talking about for the 5 love languages, and some of you have no clue at all, okay? Some of you should learn what the 5 love languages are. But basically, it's the idea that in a relationship, there's 5 love languages, and different people speak these different languages, and that if you don't speak that language, they're not going to take love the same way. So there's things like words of affirmation, gifts, touch, acts of service, quality time. Different people feel love accordingly to these different love languages that they relate to, okay? So for example, I'm not a gifts person. Okay, but my wife is a gifts person. And so if I don't know her language and I don't buy her gifts because I'm not into gifts, she doesn't think I love her, right? So you got to know the language. Now, again, this is not a training on relationships. But from a lead perspective, you've got to understand the 5 love languages of leads, okay? And so some of their love languages, the way that they like to communicate and respond is by text. Others are email. Others are over the phone. Others are video. Others are social DMs, social direct messages. You got to find out what their language is, because some of you are just continually emailing somebody when that's not their love language, their lead love language. Theirs is video. Some of theirs is social DM. Some of theirs, I had somebody recently who literally sent me an email for, I want to say, 1.5 years. And after 1.5 years, I just kept getting caught up. I never responded. I had other things going on. Then they DM'd me, direct messaged me through Instagram, and I responded in 22 minutes. And they wrote me back and they said, are you serious? I've been trying to get a hold of you for 1.5 years. I send you a DM on Instagram. I get a response within a half hour. And I said, yeah, that's my love language. That's my, lead conversion love. Like that's how I communicate, right? So it's not enough to know what yours is. You've got to know what theirs is. And so it's important when you get somebody's info and you're trying to convert, because let's face it, 72% of all people come off of the internet, right? 92 to 96% of people work with the first, 92 to 96% of people come off the internet. 72% of them work with the first person they have a conversation with. So your goal is to have that conversation. So how do you get that? You got to find their love language. And that means you got to mix it up between email, you got to mix it up between text, you got to mix it up between video, you got to mix it up between your social DM, you got to mix it up, between all these different things and find their love language. Because until you do, many times they won't respond. But 72% of them work with the first person they have a conversation with. So if you want that, you got to get them to respond, which means find their love language that ultimately makes them respond, okay? Now, the other reason that it's important when you're looking at those 5 love languages to be looking for which one's going to work is because a lot of times, a lot of you need to mix it up and you need to try something like video, okay? When you're responding to somebody, it's so easy to just email or text. That's fine because there's no risk in that. There's no, nobody's going to turn you down. Nobody's going to whatever. But what you want to do is you want to put the pressure on them with something like video, which means literally you're at a game with your kid or your grandkid. You get a lead that comes in, you hold it up and you just say, hey, and you don't look perfect. You guys have heard me say all the time, right? It's not about perfection, it's about connection. You got your hat on, you don't have a name badge on, and you just sit there and go, hey, I just got your request. You wanted to see that house. I'd love to show it to you or answer your questions. I'm actually at my kid's ball game right now, or my grandkid's ball game right now, so I won't be able to get back to you till later today. Just didn't want you to think I forgot about you. If there's any other questions in the meantime, please send them over. I'll answer those all at the same time. Thanks for reaching out. I'm going to be right in touch, okay? Send. You do something like that. What happens when you do that? You just became a person, okay? And what's very interesting is that it is much more difficult to reject a person than it is to reject a font. And when all you do is email and text, that's very easy to reject, because that same font that came over in that email or text is the same one that they got from 100 different people that day. But when you do something like video and now they see your face and they hear your reflection, and now it's very difficult to reject that person, because you just became a person. You became a mom, a dad, a grandparent, a sister, or whatever, who's at their kid's ball game. Use that to your advantage. That right there will change your conversion game drastically, okay? The next thing we need to know is that there are 3 levels of context that people look for in order to convert, and different people fall under different areas here. Some need one, some need other, and those 3 levels of context is they need to already know you, because it's easier to convert when somebody already knows you. That's why branding is important. That's why doing your content videos on a regular basis, even if they don't immediately create business, they create brand, which helps you convert in other areas. No different than when I come do your event or another event, or some of you listening to me now, you will listen on a different level. You will give me a different level of trust because you have context with me. You know me, you've seen me, you've watched me, right? So that's the same thing. The second one is they need to quickly feel like they know you. You do that through things like video, right? Because when somebody sees somebody, they trust them more. They put a face to it, right? Or the third one is they need to get to know you over time, and that's what's called long-term follow-up. Okay, and we talk about long-term follow-up. Well, we're saying the leads suck and they're no good and whatever because they're not according to our time frame. Their time frame is on average 7 months. That doesn't mean they're a bad lead. That just means they needed more time. They were at the beginning of their process, right? And the goal of any lead conversion when you're following up with people is to get one of 2 fingers, right? You need to follow up so much that they either go, hey, let's work together. Or you follow up so much that they give you another finger that I'm not going to show you right now that says, let's not work together, okay? But that's called follow-up over time, okay? So let's talk about what's actually needed to convert, okay? The first thing that's needed, we've heard this so often, but it's just so true, is speed. Speed. I said before that 72% of people work with the first person they have a conversation with, right? When you get back to someone within 5 minutes of them filling out that form or whatever they're doing to reach out, your conversation ratio goes up by over 100 times, like 100. So you need to be figuring out in your business, what does that mean to you? What does that mean from the perspective of, do you need an ISA? Do you need, which is an inside sales associate? Do you need a virtual ISA? Do you need what needs to happen in your process? Do you need to set up when emails come in from a lead source, whatever, that you can go into your settings in Gmail or Yahoo or any other system you use and have it text you when it comes from that, so you know it immediately, so you can follow up immediately? What needs to happen in your process to get back to people within 5 minutes? Because when you don't, it becomes somewhat of a wasted lead. But when you get it within 5 minutes, they're thinking about it at that moment. Look, guys, we live in a world right now where a social world, where people are used to immediate response, right? The dopamine is released. They put out a post. How many likes does it have? How many this? They want immediate response. You can like that, dislike that, hate it, love it, whatever you want. All that matters is that's what's actually happening, okay? So you have to be aware of that and you have to leverage that. So speed. What system, what process do I need to get back to people within 5 minutes, whether it's me, an ISA, whoever it is, so that I do not waste these leads, so I can make that connection. My conversation ratio goes up by 100 times, which makes them way more likely to work with me, which gives me better bang for my buck. The second thing you need is smarts. You need smarts, meaning what do you actually do when you call people? What do you actually, when you call someone they don't pick up, what do? You just leave a voicemail? Do you send them a text? Do you the first thing you want to do is do an immediate second call. Okay, if someone doesn't pick up, you hang up the phone, you call right back. Because even when someone just filled out a form, if you are to respond to them and they recognize, they see a number they don't recognize, they don't pick up the phone. When they see that same number come through, 3 seconds later, they figure it must be someone I know from a number I don't know, and now they pick up. And that's just called smarts, guys. Like, that's just sales smarts. So do the immediate second call. The other thing you need is you need leverage and urgency. And so what does that mean? You got to dangle the carrot, right? So when you're calling someone, if it's a seller or somebody looking to sell or want to know the value of the property or something like that, you don't just call them up and say, hey, got your request for a home valuation. Here's what it is, or give them the value, or hey, give me a call back. I'm looking forward to talking to you. Have a great day. You got to leverage these other things. You got to dang carrot. So instead, and by the way, guys, I'll give you these scripts. Just send the email to yes, Y-E-S, at jaredjamestoday.com, not jaredjames.com. Yes, at jaredjamestoday.com. And I'll actually have a page for you guys where you can have these dialogues and scripts where you're going to learn to say things like, hi, so-and-so, got your request for home valuation. I'm actually working on it right now. Okay, they just filled it out. They want it. They put in their information to go through to a stranger. They want the info. I'm working on it right now. How am I working on it? I'm calling you. I just need one more thing. What's the one more thing I need? I need to get into your house, but I'm not going to say that because you sound like a psycho. Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, I got your request for home valuation. Working on it right now. Just need one more thing, and then I'm going to drop a deadline. Okay, that urgency, and I'm going to say, I'm going to be at this number for the next 35 minutes. Working on it right now. Just need one more thing. Going to be at this number for the next 35 minutes. That's it. Okay. Give me a call back as soon as you get this, whatever. Now they're like, shoot, I was going to call them back later, but later never comes because they get busy and they get doing other things. They're like, they only need one thing. I'll call right now so I can get my home valuation. That's why I filled it out, to get that home valuation. Right. And so I'm going to do something like that. I need to use the verbiage like that. I need to drop a deadline. I need to dangle a carrot. I need to create that urgency. All of those things need to be a part of your process. Otherwise, you don't get the same response and you never get that conversation, which the conversation is ultimately what leads to it. The next one, which I've kind of already talked about, is consistency. But I kind of already talked about that. It's the goal is one of two fingers, right? What systems do you actually implement? I mean, guys, I believe in systems so much. I literally built for years and spent my own money creating our own CRM with all of my follow-ups in it for long-term follow-up built in for you. If you want to check that out, you can go to jarjamedia.com, Jarja media, media.com, jarjamedia.com. You can get a trial for 14 days for $1. All of my follow-ups, everything. We have to follow up long-term because, again, they aren't on our time frame, they're on their time frame. And if someone cared enough to reach out and put their information in to go through to a stranger, they may not be ready to sell or buy right now, but they are thinking about it, and it's just a matter of time. And the number of people who have come through your funnel, you thought they were no good, and then eventually went and sold or listed through someone else, 8 months later, would boggle your mind. So your goal should be to not allow that to happen, because the business you're trying to create today, that you're scrambling to create, was really the business that you should have been nurturing 8 months ago that would have been there now, okay? So think longer term when it comes to that, okay? The next thing you need is skill, okay? Now, I'm not a big scripted guy, but I do believe in the idea of understanding a script from the perspective of knowing where you're trying to go, the spirit of it. To me, it's not about A, B, A, B. They say this, you say this, they say this, you say this. It's about having a buffet of options. It's about actually listening to them and saying, oh, they need this over here, or oh, I need to go over here, or about having a buffet of options. So we need to know some skill sets. We need to know, when we go to a listing appointment and somebody says, well, so-and-so said they do it for this percent, we need to know better, skill than to just go, I'll match that if you do it right now. We need to know what to say, right? And that's a skill set, right? That's something you train for. That's something you practice for. That's something that we train our students for all the time. And so somebody says to you, hey, so-and-so said they do it for blank percent. Your response needs to be, great, at least so-and-so knows what they're worth. And then smile and allow for an awkward moment. And then say, but I also know what I'm worth. and I also know what your home is worth, and lucky for you, I'm going to fight for its value the same way I fight for my own. Now I've done a tie down where I've connected the value of their home to the value of me. And if you lower my value, I have to lower the value of your home, right? So it's really simple. That's in the dialogues you guys are going to get for free. Hey, so-and-so said they do it for blank percent. Awesome. At least so-and-so knows what they're worth. Smile. Okay. But I also know what I'm worth, and I also know what your home is worth. And lucky for you, I'm going to fight for its value the same way I fight for my own. Smile, nod, look right at them. That's it. Okay. Simple stuff, guys, but we got to learn that stuff. We can't be winging it. This is called skill set to close, right? When we're at an open house or something, we don't say, are you working with an agent? It's the dumbest question you can ever ask, because communication 101 says it's not what you say that matters, it's what they hear. Okay. And so when you say, are you working with an agent? All they hear is, oh, that's all I have to do to get rid of you? Yeah, I'm working with an agent. Working with an agent. Oh, great agent. What's the name? I don't really remember, but we're super tight, right? No. Do you have anybody sending you good deals? That's what you say. Because now, completely different psychological response. They're sitting there going, do you have anybody sending you good deals? Do you have access to deals we don't have access to? Do you have now a completely different response? And now you'll get a real answer. You know, my wife's sister is an agent part-time. She's been sending us stuff. We haven't signed anything. What, do you have access to properties we don't have access to? Completely different response, okay? And that all comes, and that works when you do have a proprietary list of properties that nobody else has access to, because you're doing the other things I teach you in all the other parts of the business to be creating seller leads on a regular basis that come through that nobody else has access to, which now you can connect your buyers to those sellers to try to get into the properties. And it's a great world, whatever, but you got to know how to use your words, okay? Next one. When you're trying to get into a property, you want to try to avoid as much as possible saying, can I come in or can I come over? Because it's a very yes or no. When people talk to a salesperson, what do they want to say? Yes or no? They want to say no. So you've got to use verbiage like, would you be offended? So when you're trying to get that appointment to get into the house, because that's really what you're looking for, in a seller situation, for example, with a buyer, you'd use the exact same verbiage, just change it for a buyer. You're going to say, hey, you know what? Like I mentioned, in order for me to give you the most accurate value of your home, I've got to actually see the property, right? Like you can't really do an online level. Turns out I'm actually going to be in your area tomorrow around 5:30. Okay, turns out I'm actually going to be in your area tomorrow around 5:30. Would you be offended? There's the key line. Would you be offended if I stopped by for a quick on-site 5-minute price consultation? Would you be offended? I didn't say CMA. On-site, really quick 5-minute on-site price consultation. Would you be offended? What do they want to say to salespeople? Yes or no? They want to say no. Okay, they want to say no. Now, when you say to them, would you be offended, rather than can I come over, there's only two answers to would you be offended, okay? Number one is yes, I would be offended. Like, it's offensive that you came over. They don't want to, that sounds ridiculous. Like, what kind of a freak is offended by that? The only other answer to that question is no. No, I wouldn't be offended. Would you be offended? No. And they want to say no to a salesperson, but their no means what to you? Yes. No, I wouldn't be offended. Yes, you can come over. Okay, so learn the verbiage, right? Hey, turns out I'll be in your area tomorrow around 4:30, tomorrow around 6, tomorrow around whatever, right? You know, would you be offended if I stop by for a quick 5-minute on-site price consultation? That's it. Nice and easy. Make them answer. That's how you get the answer you want to get to. My next favorite line to help convert is one of my favorite lines of all. It's on a scale of 1 to 10. This is one of the most powerful lines you can use. You're sitting down at a listing presentation. You can use this for buyers, for sellers, but you're sitting down at a listing presentation trying to convert. First thing you ask, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are 2 or 3 things that need to be a 10 in order for you to feel comfortable making the right decision to hire me before I leave here today? Mr. and Mrs. Seller, on a scale of 1 to 10, what are 2 or 3 things that need to be a 10 in order for you to feel comfortable making the right decision to hire me before I leave here today? That's a brilliant line. Because people answer the questions that are in front of them. And even if they weren't thinking that they were going to hire someone today, you're changing their expectation by asking that question. So now they're going, scale of 1 to 10. You know, I need to know that you're going to do more than just throw it on the MLS and pray. I need to know that I had someone that was going to communicate with me and was going to, what do you learn when they answer that question? What happens? A couple of things happen. Number one, new expectation. The expectation is that if these 2 or 3 things are a 10, you're going to hire me before I leave here today. That was the agreement we just made. And the second thing that happens is that you learn what it is that you actually need to focus on, okay? Because they're going to tell you 80% of that stuff you brought over in your market analysis means nothing to them. I need to know this, this, and this. These are the things that matter. Those are the things you need to focus on. Okay, so it's a brilliant line. Next one, more skill, guys. I'm just running through some skill lines with you. Someone says, you know, I'm not really looking to sell. I'm not really looking to sell. What do you say to that? Okay, another crappy lead. The way you respond with your skill is when they say, I'm not looking to sell or I'm not looking to buy, you go, now or ever? Like in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, ever? And they're like, no, I don't mean ever. I just mean we're really waiting until spring or whatever. We're going to wait like a few months. We're going to wait 6 months. We're going to wait. Now you found by responding that way, now or ever, like the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next 10 years, ever. Now you found when you respond like that they had a completely different definition of not looking to sell or not looking to buy than you did. Because they thought whenever you talk to a realtor, you list your house, you buy with them the next month, but they're not looking for the next 8 months, the next 7 months, but to you, that's an active seller buyer. So you got to ask the right question, okay? Guys, the key thing when you're talking to people when it comes to conversion is there is a huge difference between listening to other people and simply waiting for them to stop talking so you can start, okay? Nobody's ears ever got them in trouble. You have to actually listen to what it is that they're saying so you know where to go, so you know where in the buffet to be selecting from, right? There's a huge difference between selling and closing. And in order to make more money converting, you've got to turn into a closer. The biggest difference is that a salesperson, while you are a salesperson is always talking about features and benefits, right? When this happens, that happens. When this happens, that features and benefits, but they don't actually close because they're too fragile to close. You have to close. A closed mouth doesn't get fed. You have to ask for the business. That's why we do things like setting ourselves up on a scale of 1 to 10. What are 2 or 3 things to be a 10? Or if you're comfortable making the right decision to hire me today, like it rolls off the tongue. That's so that at the end, you can be like, you know, you said at the beginning these 2 or 3 things needed to be a 10 in order for me to feel comfortable making the right decision to hire me before I left today. Would you say those 2 or 3 things were a 10? Now you're starting to close. Perfect. So do you want to get on the market today, or do you want to sign today and we'll get on the market on Monday when more people are looking? Like, you have to actually close, right? Salespeople talk about features and benefits, but closers know how to actually ask for the business. They have a skill set to do that. And all of that is made easier, like all the things I've talked about here, that you do right from the beginning with building rapport, right through to asking the right questions, using the right verbiage. All of those things make it easier for you to close. I promise you, if you do that, you're going to close at a higher percentage because you'll no longer be winging it, which is absolutely powerful and true, okay? So if you guys want some of the training for some of the stuff I've talked about here, simply, as I said, send an email, yes, at jaredjamestoday.com. If you enjoyed this, guys, or you just want to stay in touch, as always, go to connectwithjared.com, connectwithjared.com. Follow on all the platforms, including the podcast, but send me a DM on Instagram or another place. Say hello. Let me know that you're there. I always enjoy interacting with you guys. I always enjoy every chance to get into South Carolina and say hello to you guys in person and be with you guys. You guys are the best. So again, thank you to the South Carolina Association of Realtors, South Carolina Realtors, for having me do this for you guys. This is one in a series of 4 that have either been released yet or haven't, depending on when you're watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. Share it with someone else, guys. Thanks so much.